person next to me is James Rank. Sorry,
Hello,
everybody.
For those of you who don't know, I'm here to help out on the channeling session on the second half of this. So this is right now, this is Kimberly's moment to shine. So I'll just be quiet for the time being. You can go for it.
I'm sorry. Okay, and also if you guys have any questions while this is going on, I deal with this stuff every single day, so it may not be obvious to you guys, so please just jump in and ask questions, okay? Okay, so as far as I know, I think I was abducted at the age of 5, and I'm saying that I think it was earlier because there's no way for them to know what I was up to at the age of 5 unless they had previous information on me, like who I was beforehand in Project Surrogate, which means that they knew coming in who I was. And they shrunk me back down to a fetal, a fetus, and then inserted me into another person, which would have been my mother. So it would have been a surrogate family, and then raised as the person that I am today. Does that make sense to you guys? Okay. I think that's more likely what happened. Okay, so once I was taken at the age of 5, they brought me down to the underground bases and started doing experimentation on me, just like they've done to James and Anthony and Tony. Same thing. It's standard. So once they bring you down, the object is to get you, what they're looking for are abilities, anything that they can utilize in any sort of way, any psychic abilities, any tactical abilities, any telekinesis. They're looking for anything that they can use and make a weapon out of it. So, yes?
Is your mic on?
Oh, yes, it's right here. Sorry. Use the mic. Okay, so what they're doing is they're looking for things that they can use. And these children are already predisposed to psychic ability. These are children that have very distinct abilities, So what they do is they go down and they bring you underground, and then they subject you to different types of torture. And we're not going to get into it because it's too gruesome, but you guys understand that's what elicits the body's response to stress. And when that happens, when you get a catalytic moment, there's abilities that come out. And when they tortured me and split my personality, because that's what happens. If you're traumatized, your soul leaves your body and it splits off. And they grab that other part of your soul, and that's what they use, and they put it into other bodies, into clone bodies. We're going to get into that later, but that's what they're doing. So when they split you, they also find out that you have incredible abilities like bending space and time, which is what they found out I could do. So when they found out I could bend space and time, they figured, why not throw me into the Montauk chair? And we'll get into that later. But they took this ability and they then fed me something called femto technology. And I'm not sure if you guys are aware of femto technology. Okay, so that's a whole other situation. So femto.
Pardon me. How do you spell it?
FEMTO.
Oh.
Okay, so it's a technology. It's like nanobots times 10. So you guys are familiar with nanobots. Okay, so that's what femto technology is. Basically nanobots, but much, much smaller and much, much more powerful. So when you're injected with this stuff as a child, you become superhuman, and to the nth degree. So that's what they did. Basically, they split me. They fed me femto, and then off we went into the programs. And the Black Project programs they utilize you in many different programs all at the same time. So you could be going in one project, then they'll use you in another project, so on and so on. So we're going to get into the projects that I was in. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce you guys to the space fleets so when you're in when you're split and you're in training, most of us went to Montauk, which I'm sure you guys are all familiar with. Project Looking Glass, everybody familiar with that? Okay. So once you're prepared, they sometimes ship you off to either one of these programs. It's called Solar Warden, ICC, and Darkfleet. These are the main space fleets that are roaming around, okay? And usually, most super soldiers have done either sometime in Darkfleet, ICC, or Solar Warden. That's just standard. So I ended up in the Project Montauk in the 70s, most of the 70s. There was 2 phases to Project Montauk. I don't know the difference between those two. I just know that there were 2 phases. This is the trip chair, one of them. Are you guys familiar with where the trip chair came from? Everybody know? No? Okay, so this technology is from Roswell. There was a UFO crash in 1947. They pulled out the chair and brought it to Montauk, and then developed this from that. So they basically retrofitted this technology. And then once they did that, then they had to abduct children, psychic children, to run this equipment. So basically it's used for time travel. You can do all sorts of stuff with this. You can open up portals, you can send stuff, you could send people. Mostly when I remember being in the chair, and I remember opening up, portals to send other children to like Vietnam, which we discussed this before. I'm not sure if it was Vietnam. It could have been Venus, for all I know. They don't ever tell us where we're going or what's going on. We just end up places. So we can do that. I remember, sitting, and I know that, you're taught that if you're going through the tunnel, that if you hit anywhere in the sides of the tunnel while you're going through it, that is immediate, death, extermination. So when you're being trained in the chair, they give you this red crosshairs. So you have to stay in the middle of the tunnel. So nothing, so you can stay where you're going and not explode. It's hooked up psionically. So it's not, they don't actually tell you where you're going, what you're doing. It's like a direction. So you're looking for this, and you go through it. It's like reading the Akash. If you guys are psychic, it's an internal thing. Okay. So when I was given my record, and as you can see from the dates here, it doesn't make any sense. It's not a linear, my service record is not linear, time is not linear, so I can't explain why I was, in several different programs at the same time, other than they were using me all at the same time and recorded it as such. When I was given this, I could have had it either linearly, this is the best that they could do, or or I could have gone by which programs I was in. So I just decided do it this way. So as you can see, I was in Montauk for 4 years, stages 1 and 2. From Montauk, I was recruited by Kruger, and Kruger Mercenary Corporation is, do you guys know about the military corporations? No, maybe we should get into the military corporations before we get into my service record. So let me see here. Oftentimes after you're trained in the trip chair and you spent your time at Montauk, now you're psychically ready to go. Lots of times the space fleets will recruit you. ICC, Solar Warden, Darkfleet. Lots of us went from Montauk to Darkfleet, which is pretty typical. But there's also corporations that you work for in tandem with these other space fleets, okay? So Monarch happens to be one of these off-world corporations that now is in our reality. So these corporations started in another reality. And so their skill and ability to leave their reality and come here and bring their madness here as it's unbelievable. So they came here about 6,000 years ago, and they're of a negative orientation. They're not here because they're helping planet Earth. They're here to abduct humans, make clones out of them, and make them fight for them in these galactic wars. And so they're located Toronto?
That's
underneath
correct.
Toronto,
but it stretches in the United States too.
Yeah. Okay, over the border. Okay, so they're huge. It's under the city of Toronto and the United States. It's huge, and so They also had their hand in Montauk. They have their hands in a lot of different stuff. Umbrella does as well. So the Monarch Corporation is used in space-time technology to manipulate Earth's timelines to maximize chaos and enslavement. Okay, so that's their objective, and they're sticking to it. And so any psychological projects, warfare, all of that is done through Monarch, including Project Looking Glass. So, yeah, not a good corporation. So, okay, so we're going to go to the next one, which is Kruger. Now, Kruger is... again, it was established in the 1850 timeline by Gabriel Kruger, who, here we go with the timelines again, who actually left the 1850 timeline and time traveled to 1920 to connect with his family in Germany. They tend to be a positive orientation. Now, they're from the timeline, they're from a parallel Earth timeline, that the Nazis actually won the World War, and they released Tesla's technology. So everybody had free technology in this timeline. So they had, free energy, they had, everything, unlike what we have today here. So they're here as well. I think, where's Kruger located? Do you know where Kruger's located here?
Probably on the moon.
The moon, just the moon, yeah. So, because I remember being at Kruger. Kruger's mostly on the moon. I remember being on the moon, and Kruger has like a lobby. They have like an entire underground facility, but there's like a lobby that you can see when you look out. You can see at least that's what I think. They could put anything up there. So I was looking outside on the moon from the Kruger lobby in their base there. So it was pretty weird. Okay, so the operatives that Kruger employs are called Kruger runners, and these are also time travelers. They are they're utilized to because they run so fast that time it bends space and time. So they utilize these operatives to for espionage. They do parkour. They're like the acrobats of the military, basically, and they're utilized for many different things, including assassinations, which is time-traveling assassins, you guys, pretty intense. So they're utilized to steal intelligence. They work down here. They work off-world. So we have some Kruger runners in the house. James is one of them. Anthony's one of them. So, Alex too. So so you guys would also be familiar with this. Okay, so let's move on to the next corporation. Now, Umbrella Corporation, and this is something you guys may be familiar with. The Umbrella Corporation is mentioned in a few movies, Resident Evil being one of them, the video game. The Umbrella Corporation, again, is from this Nazi reality that the Nazis won the war. They're also here. They have 3 founders, and one of them is Dr. Oswald Spencer, and it's negatively oriented. They are not here for our best interest, and we'll get into what Umbrella actually does in a little bit. So. They were the founder in this reality of they're a premier leader in biological, chemical, and virology warfare. Okay, so they're the ones that are making the bioweapons that we're enjoying today. So you've seen some of Umbrella's work, and I won't get into the specifics, but I'm sure you guys know what I'm speaking about. Okay, so the Umbrella Corporation is responsible for the T virus, which is the tyrant virus, and there are 2 other founders in this corporation, Dr. Oswald Spencer. There was also Dr. James Marcus and he wasn't a doctor, Sir Edward Ashford. Now, the T virus was actually developed by Dr. James Marcus, and what he did was he actually He used some cells from the Ebola virus and combined it with some other things and started injecting people with it, and found out that nobody could live. So that that wasn't going to work. They needed whatever they needed. They needed people to live. So Umbrella decided to continue their studies to develop this T virus technology, and they came up with the Ouroboros, which is the virus that was released in Florida.
The zombie virus.
Oh, it's a zombie virus. Yeah. Okay, and then they released it
in Miami.
Lovely.
And it it infected a crocodile, and the crocodile, it mutated in the crocodile, then it bit a human, and then became the zombie virus.
Lovely. And then they had to send in umbrella soldiers, super soldiers, to clean it up. And I think James was one of the soldiers that was sent in to clean up the Ouroboros virus that was unleashed in Florida. But nobody knows about that. Okay, and so the next phase of the T virus is the V virus, which is also known as the G virus. Now, the G virus is known for its ability to mutate humans, and we'll get into all the fun stuff the G virus has brought us as well. So these, the idea of Umbrella is to make superhuman people through infecting them with whatever they can. And so these viruses were actually utilized in the Hulk program, and I'm not sure that was Dark Shield, wasn't it?
Hulks were made by Umbrella.
By Umbrella and Dark Shield, but yeah, okay, so we'll get into it. Dark Shield is an offshoot of Umbrella in Antarctica, and there's actually a program. Veronica, another super soldier, actually has talked a lot about the Hulk program, and that is they've taken some of these viruses that Umbrella has developed and injected humans, and they literally turn green and turn into Hulks. That is not, that's actually true. As we all know, movies, video games, all of that is disclosure. And all of it is real because it's actually happening. And, the entertainment business is making the movies after the fact. So these stories came first, then the movies. So if it sounds familiar, it's because it is. So... Oh, thank you. Sorry about that. Okay, so
it's Black Shield, not Dark Shield.
Is it Black Shield? I always say Dark Shield. I meant Black Shield. Okay, so I think Dr. Alan Wesker will get into that. Okay, so anyway, so you guys now know. The Umbrella Corporation is responsible for all major viral outbreaks in the 20th century, so including COVID-19, which I'm not sure if I should be saying, but that's true. It's because of the Umbrella Corporation. So. Okay, so now my service record might look a little bit, okay, so.
You need help?
No, I think it's good. Okay, so again, I spent my time at Montauk, which is a Monarch program, Project Looking Glass. They did all sorts of fun stuff at Montauk. There were lots of kids there, lots of stuff going on. And so once the kids got older, that's when they started recruiting us into the space programs and into military corporations. So for me, I apparently went from Montauk and was recruited into Kruger, and I was a Kruger runner for, I guess, 2 years. But that's not, you can't really go by that because time really, this isn't a good reflection of how much time was actually spent there. So. We'll do our best with that. And so after Kruger, I was then recruited into Darkfleet. Now, are you guys familiar with Darkfleet? All of you? I'll just go over it quick. You are? Okay, so Darkfleet is a space program run by the breakaway Nazi Germany. You guys are familiar with the breakaway civilization. Germany, during the World War II, had access to great technology. And they decided that they were going to work with the reptilians during this period of time. So there's a faction of the Nazis that had such advanced equipment that they just left Germany with the Nazis, with the reptilians, and did a underground base there. I'm not sure what the base is called. But just a huge base in Antarctica. Anyway, so the breakaway the Germans and Darkfleet started their own space fleet, and they recruited lots of kids right out of Montauk. So lots of us went right to
it 211?
Is it 211?
I think so.
No?
The Antarctic base. 211?
Oh, maybe. Okay. James thinks it might be 211. That could be. Okay. So it is what it is because Dark Shield is down there. Yeah, New Schwaben, exactly. So yes, okay. So Dark Fleet is wow. It's it's difficult to explain Dark Fleet, but it's dark and negative. And they trained us children to be navigators, to be psionically. The reptilians have a very large pineal gland, and they're very, very psychic. And if you're connecting psychically with reptilians, it can give you a headache because it's very penetrating, and they're big and scary, and they're and they're very psychically in tune. So I don't know if you guys have seen. Just those eyes are very they're hypnotizing. So not only are they psychically inclined, but they're they can hypnotize you. So they also train the kids that are from Montauk and these fleets. They train us how to do that as well. And so I'm pretty sure that some of the people in the room know what I'm talking about. But anyway, so what they would do is they would fly us around, and we would detect. The idea was to psychically interfere with people on the ground. For instance, if somebody was getting close to a memory, or if they wanted, if they didn't want somebody to know something, then we would psychically key into that person and distract them and send them other thoughts. And the idea was to totally remove any kind of just misdirect them. So it was. You were taught to fight pretty hard in Dark Fleet, and I just remember speaking German as well, and that's the main language for Dark Fleet, and I think there's a lot of people that remember speaking German, including you. Okay, so from Dark Fleet, I guess I went back to Monarch. Again, this is not linear, so Monarch was again just more. I think I have a clone or two in Monarch. I know I have a clone or two in Monarch. They're into the time-space travel, so they definitely and they're also into psychic warfare, and so they really they're into teaching death by psychism, that kind of a thing, and a lot of projects, a lot of psychological breaking protocols where they try to break you, see how much you can take, that kind of a thing. So yeah, they're lovely. Okay, and so the next phase I was in was Umbrella Corporation, and this is where I'm going to spend the most time. But before I get to the Umbrella Corporation, I'm going to go through a couple of my alters that I've had. Okay, so I was in Project Seagate, which is the where they combine dolphins and human DNA. They would pull us out of our bodies, and then they would put us into dolphin bodies and see how we would react. And I think they were looking for us to, have sonar capabilities and see how we dealt with it. And to be quite honest, the dolphins think in a completely different way. They have superior intelligence to us. I don't know if you guys are aware of that, but they also have a completely different brain. And so when they combined our DNA with dolphins, I think some of that caused autism in the people that were in Project Stargate, like myself. I'm autistic, so I think it could be from this project. Okay, I was in Project Witchblade. That's a movie and a comic book. It is real. This was a time travel project, and the Dark was looking for, literally, they were looking for psychic witches from the time period of Salem, which I know we're all familiar with, and they would send us back in time and look for the psychic people, and then we would take this blade and slay them. Nice. Yeah. Okay, so here is Natasha. I had, this is Natasha, my altar in Darkfleet. I mean, it's kind of small, but I mean, you can kind of see what she looks like. She was a navigation officer. She was trained psionically to interfere with the surface population. You know, they use this for multiple things. I was also trained to fight, to, all the fun stuff. And tactical weapons specialist. So that is Natasha. And so we're going to move on to, okay, so this is Cyrene. Now, I've done channeling with James on this. Now, this is a Kruger, okay, so Malcolm and Cyrene, I did a video on this. And initially, they were, part of the Umbrella Corporation. And I'm thinking more, and this is kind of unclear, but I'm thinking more of this, she might be a Kruger enhanced, because she was used on planet Earth. She's an augmented human cyborg. She was used for infiltration, blackmail, assassination. So she was, I think she was used on planet Earth, to be quite honest with you. So she has enhanced abilities. Apparently they have combined her DNA, my DNA, her DNA with spider DNA and several other things, and she can climb walls. So I thought that was pretty cool. Something I cannot do. Okay. So when I did the channeling, we found out that, okay, so Malcolm is, so here's Cyrene and Malcolm, and when I did the channeling, Malcolm is another cyborg alter of James, and when I remote viewed it, here's Cyrene, and then Malcolm was across the way from her in this lab. He doesn't have any arms or legs because I can't remember what happened. Do you know why?
Well, they just started to create this particular cyborg, so they just they jump starting a new one from the Hobie Baker aspect.
Oh yeah.
And his consciousness was very primitive, as in almost like childlike. Like wasn't aware of any of his past.
Oh yeah.
They blank slate him.
Yeah, they don't give them memories. When they clone you, they split off a piece of your consciousness, and what they do is they put you into the clone body, but then they pick and choose what they want you to remember. And so Hobie Baker, Malcolm, wasn't given any memories.
That's because he was malfunctioning.
Oh.
Essentially, it was. That particular cyborg got infected by some AI on a mission where different reptilians, he was in charge with attacking this vessel that used a weapon that attacks. The reptilians used a counter measure of an AI virus to attack cyborgs. So this particular cyborg was falling apart, becoming zombified, essentially almost dead. And so they wanted to jumpstart it with a new created clone. So that's first Malcolm, but I can't comment for Cyrene because I wasn't there. No, I don't remember that part.
Yeah. Okay. So Cyrene, I think she was in stasis. If I'm not, yeah. So I think she was in stasis, and we were trying to connect to her to get to Malcolm. But he doesn't have any of the memories. He doesn't know who you are. He doesn't know why he's here. Yeah. So. He's being enhanced. She's in stasis right now. And when I was remote viewing it, it's on an orbital platform. There's two cloning stations. There was one inside the moon of Io, and also there was an orbital platform outside the moon of Io. And we think it might be Arc Corp.
USS Arc Corp.
USS Arc Corp, which is a corporation that I'm not too familiar with. But they're not good. They're negative.
It's basically USS R Corp is basically like Monarch, but it's a lot worse, and it's based off-world. Mm-hmm. So think of the eugenics program just gone
haywire.
To the 9th degree on that program.
Okay, so so there's lots of other clones going on there. So yeah, okay. So I think that's. And so now, this particular, so this altar is an Umbrella Corporation altar, and when I was at Montauk, They split me, again, as they do. They split one of my altars that was created from the original split was this altar, Dr. William Birkin. And Dr. William Birkin was put into a small male child's body and brought to the reality that Umbrella originally came from. So the reality where the Nazis won the war and the Tesla technology was released, that was the reality where Umbrella was created. So I was put into another boy body and brought to this other reality. And I was actually raised by Dr. Oswald Spencer, who was the founder of Umbrella. I wasn't the only one that was taken. There was another child taken as well from the secret space program and was dumped into a boy body. And we're going to get into who that person is in a moment. But for now, there are two of us taken and raised by Dr. Oswald Spencer. And these two children lived, my altar and this other person's altar, lived with the founder of Umbrella, and we were educated, and we were given the best education. And as it turns out, I was able to receive my doctorate at the age of 16, which was the youngest age Umbrella had ever recruited or produced a virologist. So the other person that also was taken with me did receive his doctorate as well at the age of 17. So both of us were raised and given this education. And so once we reached our doctorate, now this is also interesting. I received my doctorate on July 29th, 1989. And in the video game, in the movie, I'll get into that, is when Dr. Birkin actually entered into Umbrella. And I'll talk about that in a moment. Also very important, he was also the creator of the G virus. We've talked about the G virus on the previous page. It's one of the 3 viruses that Umbrella is noted for. So he was. Okay, so the Dr. William Birkin is actually a character from the movie Resident Evil, and I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with this movie or not. It's real. Again, this is disclosure at its finest, and so the movie and the video game. This video game, I believe, came out first, right? Yeah, the video game came out first. It's one of the most successful video games that's produced. The movie is in its seventh rendition of the making. So that's extremely successful as well. And so the video game, I guess, has sold over 10 million copies, so it's incredible. Then anyway, so Umbrella is part of this movie, and it's about Dr. William Birkin and Dr. Albert Wesker, and we're going to get into that right now. So here's Dr. William Birkin. That's a picture of him, and Dr. Albert Wesker is the other child in the secret space program that was abducted with me. I know who he is. He was a childhood friend of mine. He was also 17, and so we grew up together, and then were recruited as Umbrella's youngest scientists in a lab. We'll get into where that was. Okay, so here's a picture of Dr. Oswald Spencer, a founder, Dr. James Marcus, another founder, Dr. Edward Ashford. Okay, so these 3 are the people that are responsible for all this. And Dr. James Marcus was the creator of the T virus, which never got off the ground because they killed everything that it came in contact with. Okay, so the story is very complicated, and I don't think I have time to go into it, so I'm going to just try to do a quick overview. Dr. Birkin and Dr. Wesker were child prodigies, and they worked under Dr. James Marcus, and their marching orders were to find a virus that would, mutate and be able to turn people into superhumans without actually killing them. So that's what they did. And after a while of doing this research, Dr. Oswald Spencer ordered Dr. William Birkin and Dr. Albert Wesker to actually kill Dr. Marcus. And so they did. And once they killed Dr. Marcus, they took over his research and were given a lab. And in the movie, and I guess apparently in real life, it's Raccoon City. I'm not sure where that is. I've watched videos of people trying to locate Raccoon City. I think they've narrowed it down to Colorado, maybe somewhere around there. So the reason why this is relevant is because the T virus actually was unleashed on the people of Raccoon City and started to kill people, and there became like another zombie outbreak, and that did not end well. So Umbrella had to send in their security corps, their security team to prevent any more outbreak. In the meantime, Dr. William Birkin took off with his samples. They were trying to get rid of the lab because of the outbreak, this huge outbreak. Everybody was trying to cover it up. There was an explosion of the lab. He left with the samples. He wasn't going to give up his work, so he actually injected himself with his work, with this new virus that he created. And apparently, once he injected this G virus into himself, he started to mutate into some sort of monster. And that's apparently what happens when you inject yourself with the G virus. And there's 5 phases to this. This is phase 1, 1 through 3. I think then, there's this big, eyeball that he just is massively deformed Hulk. He's got hands that are tentacles almost. And this is the second stage that he actually mutates into. And then the final stage, the 5th stage, he's being chased by the Umbrella security team because they're trying to get the virus. He's trying to get away with the virus. They're trying to get the virus from him. He is trying to. He ends up on a train, a maglev train underneath the Umbrella laboratory, and he mutates into this big blob. With all of these teeth, and he can't move, and I believe that he was probably taken out by Umbrella security. So that was the September 22nd, I believe, 1988 was his death, 1989. It says it in the movie. It's pretty accurate. So, yeah.
Is that Raccoon City in the U.S.?
It is. It's the U.S. in another reality.
Oh, all right.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so just to wrap it up, I have a quote here just to let you know what kind of crazy person Dr. William Birkin is. It says, he was so crazy about his work. He was really a mad scientist, okay? And that's the way they raised him to be, is this mad scientist. And, he's trying to get away and he's trying to explode the lab. And he's like, you can't be serious. I would never abandon my work. I've just finished research on the T virus, but I need a little more time. He's trying to get away to do more research on the G virus so that it's completely, he doesn't have it completely perfected. So when he shot himself up trying to get away from Umbrella, he had no idea what this was going to turn out to be. And so he basically experimented on himself. Okay, and we've got the last Dr. William Birkin quote. It's sheer perfection, my precious G virus. No one will ever take you away from me. Ooh, yeah. So he died shortly after that.
Do you remember this?
I think I do. I think I do remember some of this. And so we can, I was going to do a little bit of channeling today, see if we can't get in touch with Dr. Birkin and see, ask him some questions about some of this. So what time is it?
We got 15 minutes.
15 minutes?
Yeah. So
okay.
Have at it.
Have at it, huh? Okay. All right. We'll try to do this quickly. Okay. So So I just want to say, again, my name is Kimberley Lusanna. My website is supersoldiercoalition.org. I specialize in star family introductions. I do remote viewing for super soldier stuff. I do channeling. I'm, a remote viewer, healer. So if you guys want to get a hold of me, info@supersoldiercoalition.org. And I guess we're going to try to do some channeling.
So is this going to be after he's infected or before?
I know it's up to you guys. Anyone? You want to try before? You guys want to do before? Before?
Yeah, try before.
Okay. Okay.
Now, did you get your doctorate here on Earth?
No, I did not. I wish I would. You know what, though? I always wanted to be a doctor. So, and I'll tell you what, I had a lab in my closet as a child by the time I was 7, fully stocked. Yeah. Okay, so. Oh, anybody questions before you channel? No? Okay. Oh, yes, please.
Now, when you mentioned recruit, is that recruiting, is it like you will go do this, or do you have a choice?
Oh, there's no choice.
Yeah,
No.
that's why I wanted to.
Recruited maybe is like, yeah, really. Recruited as
Abducted.
yeah, abducted as,
You will go-
you will do this. Yes, yeah, there's no choice.
Yeah, because you use recruit, and
I know, that's really, yeah, as if I had, no. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, yes.
Yes. When Dr. Bergen was active, did you ever have any psychic transfer with him?
Yes. Now I know what it is. Yes. At the time I didn't know what it is. When I was in my 40s, my programming broke down. And that happens to a lot of super soldiers. The programming, the MK Ultra, all of the stuff that they do to us as children, it tends to go haywire for us in our 40s. And so then you have to piece your life back together and figure out what's going on. And so part of that process is knowing, now that I know who I was, these memories and my behavior as a child. I was as a child, I look back, I was a bit of a mad scientist. So I would say yes, I had definite bleed-throughs. I still behave similarly to that. I had a microscope, I had it all.
The same thing happened to a friend of mine in Vietnam, and when he came back, his mind was wiped, and 30 years later, it started coming back to him in dreams.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and you're wondering,
He was kind of messed up for about a year there.
Oh, for sure, yeah, that's what happens. Okay, he's here. It didn't take very long. He's here.
Greetings, Dr. William Birkin. Are you there?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for coming here today. So let's go ahead to go into the first question. What was the goal, well, I guess your goal with working with the G virus? What was your main aim?
The main aim was to create a virus that would mutate the human vessel into a more superior version of that vessel, utilizing biological, virological material to create a bioorganic weapon.
And what was the goal of using these weapons? Who were they going to be used on?
That is something that is something that is not in my control. That's not up to me who uses this material. I just produce the material.
Are your goals in the same alignment as Umbrella, or do they have different plans for the G virus?
The Umbrella Corporation had different plans for the G virus. It was going to be used as a weapon. It was originally utilized as such. I was not happy with the direction that Umbrella was taking things, and I was not going to allow Umbrella to take this technology and exploit it. They exploit their scientists and utilize their work as they will. I have produced materials and so forth to to a group that I have been aiding, and a group that has, wow. I've been helping to take down the Umbrella Corporation and its virological studies because of the directions that they have been taking things.
Okay, thank you. So, can you comment about the G virus itself? Did it originate off-world, and is there some kind of femto technology involved in this?
There is femto technology in this. It was created in a lab from the T virus. That technology, I was the one who took that technology from Dr. James Marcus and built upon it from the embryo of a human and combined it with some other items, including femto technology, which created the mutations that you see in your slides.
What kind of mutations have you seen so far from the G virus within your experiments?
The first time it was utilized was on me.
You didn't even test on rats or monkeys?
There was no time. The T virus outbreak had already occurred. I was in the middle of my work before I had a chance to complete it.
Okay, so if you, since you chose to infect yourself, were you aware that you could possibly die from the mutations?
Of course.
And what is there? Did Umbrella have technology to reverse the mutations?
They do now.
So how are you planning on this? If you were to inject yourself, how are you planning? I mean, what was the end game?
The end game was that I was, along with the femto technology, gave me the ability to regenerate myself over and over again. However, the regeneration is where the issue lies. I was not supposed to regenerate into a blob with teeth. I was supposed to regenerate into a more larger and perfected version of myself.
What do you think went wrong with the mutations?
The source.
And that is the femto technology?
Mm-hmm. The femto technology, but there was also some other technology. There were cells that were combined that probably, in retrospect, should have been more closely aligned to humanoid.
Did you, does Bill Gates work with you at Umbrella Labs?
The technology from the G virus was actually a technology that was sold to the U.S. government. The U.S. government actually turned that technology into a virus that you guys are, I'm sure, familiar with at this point. Bill Gates is aware of this. He knows where it came from. He took this technology. He was one of the people that bought this technology.
Did you happen to work on the Hulk program?
That was Dr. Wesker.
Okay. Can you comment about any of the other viruses that you worked on?
No. Well, the G virus was the most successful virus to date.
Okay. And does it actually become airborne, and in fact, could it become infectious to everyone?
Yes, it can be tweaked.
And is that what actually happened in that particular reality when the Ouroboros was released?
Something like that, yes. It is highly contagious.
And does it affect zombies in any particular manner?
It will mutate. It will mutate, and then death.
Does Umbrella have an antidote to the G virus?
Yes.
Okay. Does it involve regeneration tech, or is it some kind of? Yes. What?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. If they have the original DNA.
Okay. Is there anything, any other messages you would like to share with us?
The current virus technology is not, it is reversible and it is controllable, and that this will not be the end of this will not be the end of our civilization by zombie virus.
Does the audience have any questions for Dr. William Birkin? How about you over there?
Does you know anything about the COVID?
Do you happen to know anything about COVID?
Specifically?
What would you like to know? Maybe
Are the shots any good?
the COVID vaccine.
The COVID vaccines?
Yes.
The COVID vaccines, no, they're not.
What can you tell us about the COVID vaccine?
The COVID vaccine uses a technology that rewrites the DNA coding. It is not meant to be a vaccine. It is meant to mutate.
And what do you think these people are going to mutate into that chose to get the vaccine, the COVID vaccine?
Again, this is an experiment. This is a watered down version of the original technology. The mutations are yet to be seen. This is more a technological mutation. These are human cyborg. They're humanoids turning into cyborgs.
Okay, so let's take one more question. Does somebody else have a question over here?
Oh, about for the G virus you created, what's the main means of transmission?
Main means of transmission.
It was injectable.
But it did mutate to become airborne eventually.
Eventually, the T virus did. Eventually, it. Let me see here. Yes, it is airborne.
And why do those mutations of a huge eyeball appear?
That is part of the anomalous effects of that. There was no blueprint for this. This is something that just, and actually, the eye, when the blob, the final fifth stage, actually there were eyes all over my last mutation. So I'm assuming that the DNA that overwrote was an optical. How do I explain this? It was
Spider?
Yeah, exactly.
Arachnid.
Yeah.
Okay, one more question over here.
During your mutations, did you still have conscious awareness?
Did you have conscious awareness?
Yes. But it was in a different form. It was like watching your body from above.
Can you comment about Umbrella Labs located in this reality? Do they have bases here and are in the here and now?
Yes, they do. One of them was Dark Shield. Is it Black Shield?
Correct, yeah,
Okay,
in
Black Shield.
Antarctica.
Yes, that was Dr. Wesker. He left Umbrella and formed another lab.
Okay, so we need to wrap this up.
Okay.
Is there any final comment you would like to mention?
No, I want to just thank everybody for asking your questions. I thought that they were excellent, and I hope to talk to you soon.
Thank you, Dr. William Birkin.
Thank you. Okay.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Please consider supporting Super Soldier Talk by purchasing your own Neo Meditation device. Your Neo Meditation device will help you reduce stress, integrate trauma, enhance intuition, enhance clairvoyance, and enhance creativity. Get yours now at www.neologicaltech.com.